Hello, I'm Barry Fair. Welcome to the Wednesday Report. Outside it is wet and miserable and cold. Today I would like to talk to you about being prepared for a holiday and making sure that you've saved up some money for the holiday. I've talked to you about health issues. Now it's time to talk about taking responsibility if you are organizing a holiday. Firstly, you've got to work out where you're going to go to, how you're going to get there and get back. And look at the weather conditions too before you go. And work out how much it is going to cost you and your friends. Here's Matt now for his opening sequence on this. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Barry. Good points there, Barry. Getting the proper preparation before we go on a holiday.
Now, making sure that you budget for your holiday because, guys, it ain't free. It ain't free and it ain't cheap either. So if you want to go on a holiday, great, but make sure you do some budgeting so that you can plan for your holiday and plan it properly. Here's Matt now.
That's it. Proper planning, Barry, whether it be looking for flights, hotels, and transport. It's all important to have a look and see what you need to do. Because you're in a foreign country with foreign money.
And make sure that you set aside some money to go to visit attractions, go to a movie, or go anywhere. Here's Matt.
That's it. You've got to make sure you've got the right money because we can't use the Australian money when we go overseas too, Barry. So having credit cards and letting your banks know.
So before you get on once you are at the airport, you can change your money. So Matt, where are you going?
Off to Thailand.
So if you're going to Thailand, guys, change your money to Thailand money. Because you can't use your Aussie notes.
That's it. You've just got to be prepared, Barry, that when you use the ATMs over there, that you get charged about a $12 transaction fee just for taking money out in that country by your bank, and then another $6 by the Thai people. $12, sorry, my mistake. The Thai taking their chunk.
Or before you even go, if you're going with a mate, discuss with them how much it's going to cost for the two of you. But before you even book the flights and accommodation, go online, okay, to see what is cheapest, like the cheapest hotel and the cheapest flight and the cheapest return tickets. Here's Matt now.
That's it. Always do your Googling, check out everything before you go. What's the cheapest prices to make sure that you actually check that you can get connecting flights too sometimes.
And always check what the weather is going to be before you go to a particular country. Because it may be snowing and cold, wherever you may go. But where my offside is going to Samui, which is a very steamy 32 degrees. Here's Matt.
That's it. It's a bit hotter than what we have here today. 14 degrees, Barry, that's for sure.
So before you go on the holiday, write a list of what you need to take. Okay. And also consider whether there is phone coverage wherever you're going to, because you may have to organise some roaming if you are overseas. So if someone needs to get in touch with you in an emergency, organise some roaming overseas. Here's Matt.
That's it, mate. These days as well, Barry, that's a very good point with roaming, or you can buy a SIM card from the country that you're going to be in there so you can use their local services as well.
So it's also very important, guys, to have enough credit on your phone and enough charge in the battery. But we will get onto that quite shortly. So getting back to getting organized, visit your local travel agent. Okay, discuss what time of year you are going and whether it's winter, summer, autumn, and spring. And where you're going to, you may need to change the time, because here in Australia now, it is 7 minutes after 2 in the afternoon. But where my offside is going, he may have to change his clock from Australian time to Samui time. What time is it over there now?
I think it's 3 hours behind, Barry, so I think it's nearly 10 past 11, I think.
In the morning.
Correct. Yep, that's right, brother.
So that is the logistical side of organizing. Now, knowing what to pack, we will also talk about that. Okay? Don't pack everything but the kitchen sink. Okay? Because if you're only going on a short 2-week journey, pack only what you need. Here's Matt.
That's it. The advantage of going only for 2 weeks, Barry, into a hot climate is you don't need too much. It's more just making sure you've got all your passports, your paperwork, because some countries need visas. That's what needs to be done.
And always have a valid passport, because if it's expired, you are completely stuffed. So check your passport, and if it's out of date before you go, like 2 months, go to the passport office, get a new one. Here's Matt.
That's right. You need to get to the passport office at least 6 months before, because when your passport expires, other countries don't let you in unless you've got 6 months plus on your passport there.
And make sure you've got a photo which can go on to the passport. Okay, make sure that you don't leave your passport till the last minute. Get yourself organized, otherwise you won't be allowed to fly out of Australia. Okay, because this is very important. Now, getting onto the flight details. Just a moment. Now, organizing your flight. It is very important to know which flight you're going on. But the most important thing, guys, is getting an itinerary of your flight when it leaves Australia and gets to wherever country you're going to. Like with my outsider here, his flight is at 8:45 on Saturday nights. So, make sure you've got all your boarding passes ready, okay, and things like that. Here's Matt now.
That's it, Barry. Make sure you've got all the paperwork ready. Check your flights. Find out which terminal you need to leave from. Make sure you're at the gate, because sometimes the gate changes when you're there too.
So, and one thing I did forget to mention, okay, is make sure that you have plenty of medications with you. So if you're unwell, make sure you've got medications to settle your stomach, like GastroStop, or Imodium, or Gaviscon, or Mylanta, whatever. Here's Matt.
That's right, Barry. Especially going to these countries where the food hygiene can be a little bit questionable sometimes. It's great to have those things that you mentioned, Barry.
So it is very important to have all those things, okay, and make sure you are 100% well enough before you go on the trip. It might be a good idea to go and chat with your local doctor before you go, so that he could do a check over with you, and give you the once over to make sure that you are fit to fly. Here's Matt.
That's perfect, Barry. Got nothing to add on that.
Because when I went over to Perth, I had to go to the doctors to make sure I was fit to fly. Okay, now, the day before your flight, a week before your flight, I should say, is practice good sleeping routines. Don't stay up late watching television, because your sleep pattern will be out of whack. Okay, because if you had to be at the airport at a certain time, like 5 o'clock in the morning, example, make sure you have plenty of sleep before you head off to the airport. Here's Matt now.
That's why it's important to have everything ready too. Bags already packed, everything checked. So when you get up in the morning, you're just ready to go, Barry, after a good night's sleep.
So another important rule: don't eat a huge meal before the flight. Otherwise, digestive system will not be able to handle it. Here's Matt now.
That's true, Barry. You've got that. Well done.
So if you have someone in a wheelchair, okay, make sure that you help your client ring up the supplier of their wheelchair to find out what size batteries they've got in the wheelchair and what size chair it is, so that the plane staff can fit it on. Here's Matt now.
That's right, Barry. I don't know too much about your wheelchair and your movements there, but I'm sure you understand that and got that well covered, mate.
Because when I went to Brisbane, that the day after I said goodbye, it was a hell of a challenge getting my chair onto the Qantas flight. And so my chair had to be put on another flight to Brisbane the following day. So always make sure you discuss with the airlines what sort of chair your client has. If it was a manual chair, no problem. Okay? So make sure you tell the airlines that you've got a disabled person in a wheelchair that may require a hoist to get in and out of the aisle seats. Okay? Because that is very important. Because when I flew back from Brisbane 2 years ago, I had to go up sort of like in a cherry picker to the aisle seat. And that was fun. It felt like I was on the roof of the plane just about. Now, you're on the plane, okay? But before you even get on the plane, make sure that your client has been to the men's room or ladies' room, because there are no accessible bathrooms on the plane. Here's Matt now.
That's it. Make sure you've got everything organised, Barry, before you go on there, so you can be less of a disruption for people in the queues. Because some people get frustrated when they're at the queue lines.
And make sure that you've got transport to the airport. Because if you have to be at the airport at 5 o'clock in the morning, okay, book your taxi at least a couple of hours in advance, or book it the night before, or even a couple of days beforehand. Here's Matt.
Nothing more to add on that one, Barry. Well done.
So, when I went to Portugal, I had to be up at 3:15 in the morning and picked up at 4 o'clock. So it only gave me 45 minutes to get ready. Well, anyway, I was ready. So the staff picked me up at 4 in the morning. I was there at the airport at 5 o'clock. So that was the big rule, very big rule. So enjoy your flight. Now, when you are overseas, make sure you eat food that will not upset you, upset the digestive tract, because you may be miles away from your accommodation. Here's Matt.
That's right. But going to a lot of places in Asia, Barry, they like to use chili and a lot of spices. So, like how you were talking about before about the ammonia, having some gastro stop even, and my favourite is having Yakult for the gut health.
So just getting back to going to attractions. Okay, make sure that the places that you are going to are wheelchair accessible, because you don't want to arrive at your destination and find that you can't get there. Okay? Now, the hotel side of things, make sure that you book a room for someone in a wheelchair, and make sure you've got a portable voice like this one which you see, and make sure you charge it up. Here's Matt.
Very good option there, Barry, because it's very important for you to have all your bits and pieces you need for a holiday, Barry, not just clothes, but equipment, because if they are not brought or they're run down or broken, you won't be able to enjoy your holiday.
And make sure that if you've got someone in a wheelchair, make sure that they bring their commode with them. Here's Matt.
That's it, Barry. You've got all the disability equipment organised. Once you've got that, I'm sure you're ready to enjoy your holiday, Barry.
And also, make sure you've got all the client's medications there. And like I said just before, if you make sure you take your client to the doctors to make sure that they are fit to fly. Here's Matt.
That's it. Once you've got all that, all those bits and pieces checked and cross-checked, you should really be on your way with a big smiley face to the airport. Isn't that right, Barry?
Yeah. Now that's the holiday side of things. Now towards the end of the holiday, make sure you read your itinerary, okay, to know what time your return flight to Australia is, and make sure that you have transport to get to the airport. And once at the airport, again, you will have to get your passport stamped and make sure you are at the gate before departure. But like we said, know your way around the airport when you depart Australia and when you arrive in the country and when you leave the country. Okay, make sure you listen to the announcements on when to board your flight and make sure you have the boarding pass ready for the return flight. And know which airline you are flying with. Here's Matt.
It's a very, very good point there that you raised, Barry, about the boarding gate, because sometimes you get told you go to a specific boarding gate, and things change by the time you pick up your bag and actually get there. So always check those boards to know when and where your flight's leaving from.
And what time is your flight due back in Sydney?
I think around midday, from memory.
About 12 o'clock.
Correct.
So again, once you land back in Australia, you can turn your clock back from overseas to Australian time. Okay? So I have transport to get you home as well. Back to your house. Here's Matt.
Very true, Barry. That's very well pointed out. Got nothing to add on that one.
Because if you're going back to the ferry by train, make sure you know where the train is and tell the station staff. Here's Matt.
That's it. The train's important, Barry, because they could be late. There could be something that's happened in the tunnel. Could be an accident. There's a lot of things that can happen.
So be prepared. Give yourself leeway. Be responsible when you are going on holidays. Don't leave anything till the last minute. Because the last thing you want to have happen is think, oh no, I haven't got enough of this or that, and it's too late to turn back. Back now. Here's Matt.
Very important to have that checklist, Barry, like you said at the start of the show.
So enjoy your holidays. Have fun and enjoy the atmosphere. Enjoy the flight. Enjoy the onboard movies. Here's Matt.
That's it. And on the planes, a lot of them you can buy extras like food or drink. Sit back and relax because you're on holiday.
Don't worry about work or anything. Just sit back and relax and enjoy your holiday. Well, I hope this video has given you some useful tips on how to prepare for a holiday. And I hope this video will guide you on how to prepare for a holiday. Here's Matt.
Preparing for a holiday, Barry? Simple steps. Make sure you plan and got a checklist so you can tick things off as you go through.
So we do hope that this video has given you an insight on how to organize a holiday. Don't just organize a holiday without discussing with the person because they may have other arrangements, they may not be well, or something may happen. So always have a backup person with your client in case they are sick. So enjoy your holiday, have fun, and like I've said, enjoy the holiday. Don't worry about anything else. And the number that I close each program with, do not ring 000 for stupid prank trivial issues. Chevrolet is only there for emergencies. Here's Matt now to close our Wednesday show with that.
That's it. 0 is only for emergency, guys. That means don't call up the ambulances for going to hospital when you don't need to be there. We've got to keep the hospitals free for all the sick people, especially at this time of year, winter.
So happy traveling, and Matt, thank you. Have a good holiday, mate, and we'll see you back here in 2 weeks' time. This is Barry Beer. The time is 2:31 again, and that's a wrap. A happy holiday, guys, and have a good holiday, Matt. Here he is for
Thanks.
his farewell.
Thanks, Barry. Thank you, listeners
And,
next time.
and viewers.
And viewers.
And we'll see you next time round for another wrap. So, bye-bye.